Hi all. So today what we are doing is we are doing a small hackathon. What we want to do is we want to create a sidekick on WhatsApp, which will basically take any URL or any information, and then when we want to retrieve it, we can easily retrieve it. And it's an interesting idea because WhatsApp most of the people use, and it's a very good way to access information wherever you can, and you don't need to really create a new app for it. We can just use WhatsApp. So kind of a search engine which is working with WhatsApp. So for this I am using Twilio. As you can see, you simply go here, try it out, and then you say join Piglet, which is the code there, and then you can directly start conversing with. You'll obviously have to have a webhook, which I'll show you how that works. But this is how on the WhatsApp side it's working. On the webhook side, you go to global webhooks here, add your webhook, and then on message added, you save it, and then that's it. That's the only thing you need to do, and you're good to go. And then all development happens on the other side. So here's the API I've already created here. So webhook is what is being used by Twilio. The other ones are for me to test and see how things are working. So let me walk you through the code itself, or maybe I can show you how this is currently working. So let's say I'm here and I want to save, for example, the tagging concept from Redis. So I just take a URL and I save it here, and now this is saved on a database, and I can simply later on, if I want to retrieve information, I can say, can you share with me the link I shared earlier on Redis tags functionality, something like this. And now hopefully it works, and it will look up in the vector database, and it will retrieve information regarding the URL that I may have. So let's see here. The best possible result is Redis search tag, and it summarizes it as well. And here's a link, and I can look up. You can see that it's essentially it's giving back the information that I've already added earlier, and then I can look up quite easily. So let me walk you through to the code itself where the magic happens. It's very simple. So normally what I do is I create code, and when I'm experimenting, I always add a playground, and then I go over it to see how the retrieval and how the search is. So it's very easy to understand how this is working here as well. So I basically have the structure of the database. So here I have the index, I create content, summary, and tag. There's a tag field. I later had an issue with the tags, that the search of Redis on tag is, I have to figure out how to make it work. But because the query was not really returning results, and because we want to return results on the basis of the phone number, which is the key for the users, we need that. But later on I just change it to text field. I'll show you that. So I created this index, then there is embedding, then the first main thing is saving of information. So this is what is happening. When I add a URL, or let's say even audio file or whatever, I first of all summarize it. In this case, this is text, so I'm summarizing. If I go and I see how am I summarizing it, it's pretty straightforward. I just give it to OpenAI and I say summarize the content and return it. All right. Then I get an embedding for the summary, because we do a search on the summary itself, not the URL. Making an embedding on the URL is not always good, because URL doesn't really have information. We need to retrieve information. And then I prepare it and I save it. When I want to search for it, I simply go here and I search. I create an embedding of the query. Then I do the lookup, create a base query for Redis. And this is where if I assign tag to it, I'll show you that doesn't always work. But anyway, I do the query, I get the results, and I summarize those results again, as you can see here. So that, because there may be multiple results coming up and I would like AI to summarize it and return it. So I do that. and then I simply show it, and this is what the playground is doing. And I experimented initially with it, and it worked out really well. And so then I put it up in our API. So the API is similar, create index. Here we also have the user registration. So when you send a first time message to the chatbot, it will register you, and then all of the follow-up data will be assigned with that phone number. And so that's good. Then we have the same thing, summarize information, the same thing with embeddings, same thing with saving of the information, the exact same thing, except now here we add the phone number as well. So you can see here. I can also search documents in the same way. Here, because the tag was not working, so now I look up, I changed, if you see here on the index, I changed it to text field because when it was tagged, it wasn't quite working. So I don't have time to fix that. We will change that later. But now it's working fine, and I can look up information for based on phone number, and that's how we're working. So we retrieve information, summarize it, and show it there. One more thing we are doing here is that when on WhatsApp, when a query comes in, we categorize it also with LLM. And so here we basically say, is this save information or is this retrieve information? And accordingly, if it's retrieve, we will run the retrieval process. If it's save, we will run the save process, and so on. So I can show you how this works. If I am running the API, I go to our API, I go here. Let's say I want to try out, and I can use, for example, this one. Reddit rack from scratch. I say this, and I add my phone number here, and I save it. So if I go back, you can see on the code how this is working. I'll just show you. So what is happening here is I got the incoming query. You see we get the category. So this is save information, and then we save it. Now if I want to retrieve information and I say, do you have the link on Redis, what is it? Redis Vector Library, Redis Vector Library code. Simply like that. And I go here, and it retrieves information, as you can see, and then it brings in the results. If I show you on the API, you can see it says that it returns the result. And I can do the same because it's the same database. I can do the same on WhatsApp as well. Let's see if I can show you that. I go back on WhatsApp, and I can say, for example, the same query, and it should bring back the result that is there. It brought back the result. So pretty cool and pretty easy on how this is being done. Now if I go back to code, just to show you here, so this is I've also added the support for audio, so I can upload the audio message. I can just send, a lot of people like to say send messages with audio, so it will transcribe it automatically and then return the results on that. But the webhook is simply this. You can see it's incoming message, it's from number based on WhatsApp, and if it's a new user, register it, otherwise process it and do it. And that's essentially all that is to this. Pretty straightforward, pretty easy, and it's a very cool internal, let's say, a sidekick information saver or information bookmarker that you can have on WhatsApp. Probably will launch it on Product Hunt and see what people say, but yeah, but that's about it. Let me know what you guys think, and if there's any questions about anything in this, let me know as well.